And we live. Welcome to Pure Game Live with
Where we at?
With your boy Tradenomics, with Slick Vic, and RP the Real.
My
We about to
fellas.
yeah. It's a special event. This is a special occasion. Okay. Um, it's good to be back. It's good to kick back these live shows. And the best way to kick off these live shows is what's happened today. Uh, I got to today. If you've been under a rock, the verdict for the Diddy trial for the past year or so, Diddy. It's all you've been hearing is Diddy this and Diddy that, the diddler, Diddy do it, all of that. Well, all of that has ended. The they the jury reached a verdict, and he's not guilty on. There's 5 counts. He's not guilty on 3 of them. He's guilty on 2 of them. Now, I got a video prepared for you guys. I want us to kind of react to it, and uh then Vic, I want you to really explain really what went down. All right, so we go.
As the jury has now reached a full verdict in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're breaking down the jury deliberations and final verdict in the federal trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Warning, certain information may contain distressing details.
Power and money. You can buy yourself out of a conviction. Let's be honest.
Judge hands the case to the jury.
12 New Yorkers, 8 women, 4 men are currently receiving instructions from the judge.
After 7 weeks of testimony, deliberations began on June 30th, 2025 in the federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Following detailed instructions from Judge Arun Subramanian, the jury of 8 men and 4 women was tasked with considering charges of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
Combs, who has denied the allegations against him, is facing 15 years to life in prison if convicted.
Judge Subramanian emphasized that, quote, actions may speak louder than words, and told jurors, quote, the evidence is the testimony, reminding them that Diddy was not required to testify, and, quote, you must not attach any significance to that. Each juror received a copy of the judge's instructions, though charts and summaries were not provided, and the judge stressed, quote, your verdict must be unanimous.
Because the jury instructions are a roadmap to the jurors when they go and deliberate. And what I mean by roadmap is it lays out each one of the charges.
About an hour into deliberations, the jury raised concerns about Juror 25, a 51-year-old gay white man with a PhD in molecular biology and a background in veterinary science, stating he appeared unable to follow legal instructions and requested a private meeting.
Juror number 25 is actually having questions about how to sort of take all of this information in that they were given for over 2.5 hours and apply it to those charges.
Judge Subramanian declined the meeting, but reminded jurors of their duty to follow the law and instructed them to continue. Later that day, the jury also sent a note seeking clarification on controlled substances. Verdict.
So the jury here had to fill out this form, which lists the charges, proven, not proven, the predicate crimes, and whether Sean Combs is not guilty or guilty.
On July 2nd, 2025, the jury returned to the Manhattan courthouse with its verdict in the high-stakes federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs. On count 1, racketeering conspiracy, the jury declared Combs not guilty.
On count 1, the racketeering conspiracy charge, Sean Combs has been found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, perhaps the most complicated charge for the jury to understand.
He was also acquitted on count 2, the sex trafficking charge involving ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. However, on count 3,
Ads, hate ads.
the jury found Combs guilty of transporting Cassie for the purposes of prostitution. The verdict seesawed again with count 4, as Combs was found not guilty of trafficking his other former girlfriend, known to the court as Jane. However, for count 5, Combs was found guilty of transporting Jane for the purposes of prostitution. The mixed verdict gave Diddy an overall acquittal of 3 of the 5 charges against him.
So the jury has now believed that the relationships that Sean Combs had with his former girlfriends, Cassie Ventura and a woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane, were not criminal.
Following the verdict, Judge Subramanian thanked the jury for their, quote, tremendous sacrifice over the course of the trial. He also noted that the choice of whether to speak to others, including the media, about the case is solely up to them.
I think it comes from the overreaching of the government in this case, of trying to fit the allegations of this case into a RICO conspiracy, made it that much less palatable for the jury to take what they were saying to be true.
Sentencing outlook.
3 of the counts that had life sentence possibility are gone.
Before the verdict was delivered, Sean Diddy Combs was staring down the possibility of life in prison, with 3 of the 5 federal charges carrying mandatory minimums of 15 years and maximums of life behind bars. However, with the jury acquitting him on the most serious counts, both trafficking charges and the racketeering conspiracy charge, it significantly reduced his sentencing exposure.
Count 1 was the most serious charge, carrying up to a life sentence. He has been found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy RICO, not guilty. He's also been found not guilty of sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura.
Because Diddy was ultimately found guilty on 2 lesser counts, transporting individuals to engage in prostitution, relating to both Cassie Ventura and a second victim identified as Jane, he now faces up to 20 years in prison. Each of the convictions carries a maximum sentence of 10 years.
Their client is now not facing life in prison. He is facing 2 separate charges that he was convicted on. Serious charges. They each carry a maximum of 10 years. So this isn't nothing that we are talking about.
A victory for Combs.
And Diddy could be heard saying, "Thank God," and "I love you" several times.
Following the verdict, which saw Sean Diddy Combs acquitted of the most serious charges and the ones carrying the steepest prison time, the outcome was largely viewed as a win for the embattled music mogul.
This is the best possible outcome for the defense. This is what, of course, they wanted a full acquittal, but if you're not getting a full acquittal, this is what they wanted.
Moments after the decision was read, Combs was said to have knelt in front of his chair, bowed his head as if in prayer, then stood and turned to the gallery, clapping.
Diddy was nodding. He put his hands in prayer. And our courtroom producer also heard his children and supporters saying yes repeatedly over and over with lots of excitement.
His gesture was met with cheers and applause from supporters. It is reported that he looked toward his family and said, quote, "Thank you. Love you, Mom. I love you. I love you. I love you," as loved ones wiped away tears. As he was escorted out by U.S. Marshals, his legal team exchanged hugs while the family section chanted Dream Team.
Family now is coming out. You can see.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. You get the point. He was guilty on 2 counts of prostitution and acquitted on the racketeering, the what was the other one, Vix?
Racketeering. Hold on, let me get my notes.
It was
but yeah.
It was racketeering.
He was not charged for the elements of transportation to engage in prostitution.
All right. All right. So now, so what does that mean? So he was acquitted from sex trafficking, racketeering, and so so Vic, like, what does that mean? Like, what's
I
going on?
mean,
What is
he's coming home soon. You know, the transportation to engage in prostitution. That's the new thing. All these women want to do is get flown out and have sex on balconies. It's a form of prostitution, women. You know what I'm saying? So now he's going to get about first offense. He'll probably get 23 months, 24 months. So he got charged for two of those. So that means they can run them concurrent, or they can run them in line. So either way, they probably just give him time served and have him on probation.
shoot? And I know that they had recently they asked the judge for bond, and the judge denied bond. And so, for my understanding, is that he won't get his sentence until what, October?
June, oh yeah,
Yeah,
October 3rd.
yeah, yeah,
October 3rd,
October
yeah.
3rd. So
So
this is
that
kind of a now.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I think the judge is probably gonna just let him sit down until then. That way he can get close to his, get his year in, and that way it'll look good in the public eye that he, did a little time.
Yeah, and so it's like a bittersweet moment for Diddy. So he's not going to do football years. He's on something that he's not going to do life, but he's still on the
Mhm.
hang of, like, the maximum of what he is convicted of. The maximum of it is 10 years. So, but we're saying 2 years time served, probably get out on probation. That's really what the hope is, and I really hope so. But however, I felt that way until they then moments later they said, no, we're not going to let you out on bond. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why they won't let him out on bond. You think he's going to do some freak offs until the sentencing?
Well,
Like,
they just trying to appease to the media, That
And the
way they don't
testimony.
have no backlash and stuff like that. It's already, all these people are already going against him as it is, and for him to be set free at that moment will be unjust, especially with the evidence, and all that the state has put out, or the feds have put out, the videos of Cassie, and did all that stuff to, you know, make it look like this man is a madman in their eyes. So yeah, I mean, go ahead, Rob. What you was gonna say?
No, I was just saying, there were two testimonies of Cassidy and who they call Jane.
Hmm.
She's unknown, and so that's another thing as to the reason why that the judge had decided to deny bond on top of those testimonies as well. And to what you said too, man, to appease the media, man, because it's like, you know, who knows, the speculation of what he's gonna do if he's out here and all that kind of crap, man. So you know how I go with the media.
man, man, the
And
media,
and
man.
he got the black card. So on top of that,
Right. Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, it's a lot that rests on that.
shoot, I mean, what that mean? That mean they was creep. This was my opinion. Watching this, following this as just an observer, observing this. This was a straight hit job. This was a
a
shit show.
manhunt. It's a manhunt.
Manhunt.
Hmm.
Manhunt on nothing. Like, what is you doing?
Hmm.
What's going on here?
It's just
Nothing,
sad
bro.
that they tried to take all what they could and try to conform it into a RICO case. That's the sad
By
part,
himself.
and
By
that
himself.
just goes to show you the system and what we're up against. They can try to manipulate any situation, any evidence, and turn it into what they want to turn it in, So what they want to turn it to just because who you are, a black man.
Yeah, and you see that they try to manipulate. They try to manipulate the system by they try to manipulate us, the people, by
Right.
by
The
leaking
video.
the video
Hmm.
of him beating up Cassie, which
Right.
that's not wrong. That's not right. That's wrong. Domestic violence is not there's no excuse for that. And he came out public, admitted, said, "Hey, yeah, that was me on the video, and I atoned for that, and I had to get therapy and whatever, whatever."
And
But
she got compensated for it before all
then
that.
she
So
got that's a $30 million ass whooping that she got.
I would have just sat on that money if I was going to go through this.
Bro, what I'm saying is that is a domestic violence charge,
Right.
not a RICO. So why the
Hmm.
fuck is you why are you doing that? Why are you releasing that type of stuff? Why am I seeing I'm seeing baby oil, videos of baby oil. I'm thinking I'm finna be listening to some shit and being like, oh my god. But everybody already know this is a freaky nigga. This ain't
Right.
nothing but free shit. This is a like you can't go to you can't do life in jail for just being freaky.
Hmm.
You can't do 20 years like for fucking for watching your girl get fucked by come on, bro. Let's be real,
They
man.
got all these swinger parties. So all these people in trouble, man.
These
All these
niggas in
people in
trouble, bro.
trouble.
These niggas in
Right.
trouble, bro. Like, let's be real, man. It's not cool. Like, none of this is cool, bro. Like,
You can get prosecuted for what you engage in your privacy of your own home.
man, shit. My hat goes out to the jurors of saying not guilty to that because if they
Exactly.
did, they're going to arrest everybody, at least everybody that got my skin complexion that
Mm.
has a net worth of over 100 million m's. Like nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. I don't see anybody else going through this. Why is Diddy house all his houses getting raided? I'm talking about you swear he out here
And
you out
I
here
could see, if they said, he's a pedophile or anything like that. Kids underage and stuff like these women are full adults, and the testimonies from them made it clear that they're fully aware of what they was doing
yeah, and
and
they signed
enjoyed
up
what they
for it.
did. Yeah,
They asked for it. They
and
was
came
like,
back for
"Oh, I'm
more and more and more.
dude." They was saying there was text showing that they was requesting for more freak offs. Like, I need some more freak offs.
Exactly.
Keep- Keeping in mind, though, there were a lot of people who didn't want their name in the public eye, who has over 100 M's that say, hey, you know what I mean? We talking about senators, we talking about entertainers, movie stars. It's a whole game, man. Come on, man. When the last time you heard about the Homeland Security raiding somebody's house?
All right.
First time in the history since the Homeland Security been in place since the Twin Towers got hit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that you have heard they raiding somebody. I said, man, there must have been some high official people on the video, but because ain't no way,
Bro,
man.
it's something deeper. It's
It
deeper than
got to be,
baby,
man.
bro. It's deeper than baby oil. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
baby is a smoke screen.
Bro,
You know,
bro, they showing pictures of they like more baby oil. Look at all this baby oil. And it's not illegal to buy baby oil. I can have
Not
kilos
at
of
all.
baby oil. I can they showing baby oil like these are keys of cocaine. They standing next to the baby oil like with the police. They like, look at all this baby oil.
That's
I'm like,
the
okay,
image.
where's the
That's the
crime,
image. That's the
dude?
image. They tried to make that into the crime. That's the image they wanted to put out to the public.
Look, it's not a crime to be an asshole, bro. This whole thing was just more of a case of how much Diddy's an asshole. That's all
It's
the
not a
witnesses could
crime.
talk about is Diddy's an asshole. But there's
But
no
it's
crime of being an asshole.
and there's no crime of being a porn star either.
Shit.
indeed, Yeah, none of those things.
I
That's
know
true.
it is a crime to all you niggas out there that's flying these women out and getting some box. Your days is numbered, boy. That is a crime. That's because that's a crime right there.
It's trafficking, right? Is that trafficking?
Trafficking, bro. At least you be on there. They try to say he running one of his accounts was running a criminal enterprise. This dude pay taxes every year. He ain't on no taxes on he pay his taxes. He do everything he's supposed to do business wise. And then so they couldn't get him on his business, but they try to use his personal to tie into his business to say, oh, you're using your business to traffic bodies. Like, come on, bro. No, he's not doing any of that. And then
Right.
you show then evidence, which I don't get why y'all didn't collect the right evidence during the before y'all then convicted this man. But you see in text messages of these girls uh requesting the freak offs.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
indeed.
Yes, sir.
This this just
I
this
think
just
I,
this
I, I think, man, what another layer to this, man, is that we have to consider is the level of primal mentality that a lot of women have, man. They want to be. I'm not saying anything is wrong with this, or you know what I mean. Everybody take their side or whatever, but there's a side to a lot of women that most men would never see when it comes to that primal aspect of who they are sexually. You know what I mean? And so when the time is convenient and right, some of them will. I'm not even downplaying sexual assault or any of those things. But what I am saying at the same time is that we can't downplay their primal instinct neither. That they don't want a lot of these things that y'all just mentioned, you know. So it's unfortunate because let's just play hypothetical for a minute. What if the baby oil, right, for example, had a solutable drug in it, where that's how they absorb the drug to actually go into, to them freak offs or whatever. Let's just say because who in their right, I mean logically, will have 1,000 bottles of baby oil just for
Right.
fun. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that he did have something in there he did, but let's just hypothetically say that he did. And if the people wanted to say, okay, what the drugs? Hey man, it's a salutable, you know, drug that's absorbing to the baby oil. That hey man, they ain't gonna be picked up if they do try to charge them with it. I'm just saying, you know,
yeah,
the,
but
the,
that's
the,
but if that was the case, if they put something in the baby oil, then I assume the police tested the baby oil to see if there's any type
I'm
of
sure they tested it.
chemicals.
Right.
They
They
would have
tested
mentioned
all
that.
that. hmm
I know they not that
The only
incompetent.
the only drugs they found was in his home and inside of some hotel room or something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm just
volume.
saying,
Yeah.
right.
Like, and then you see he had Texas that Cassie and her friend that she had was like really into drugs, and he was texting that he don't like he don't like her hanging out with her friend that does a
Right.
lot of
All the
drugs.
drugs. Right.
So he's like advocating against her doing drugs. So
But
I'm sitting here like, dude. So he's
but,
advocating against the drugs. You hit them up saying I'm ready for another freak off,
mhm.
and then you
But
still got 30 minutes. Come on,
you guys got to
what?
remember at the beginning of this when they raided the houses. Don't
Yeah,
you guys remember them supposedly arresting his drug runner?
that's true. The
So
skinny white
so
kid.
exactly. So what happened to all that? You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, even
And
in
then
that, just
and the
Rico
thing,
hit.
right? You know, the thing is, they'll put that in media, but then
Right.
when that nothing comes of it, they don't turn around and put it out. Oh, this was a
Yeah,
mistake, or this was a false arrest or whatever. You know what I mean? They'll just stick it in the media and let your mind run with it before they
right.
even do a jury selection.
Yeah,
Before they even do the jury selection, it's all over the news.
yeah. No, that's a good point.
They use the media as the leverage to influence. They are influencing the jury to make it impossible for the defense to pick the jury because uh Diddy is super famous. There's nobody that can be unbiased. A jury that doesn't know who Diddy is and doesn't know what he's going through, because they already set up the case against him by the court of public opinion. But the thing about it is that yeah, I'm not saying he's a good guy. I don't really know him personally, so I'm not going to
Right,
speak on his
right,
character like that. Only, but what he did was with Cassie whipping her ass. I can't condone that. I ain't with that. You know, you should never even resort to doing that ever. You know what I'm saying? Which he apologized for, and hey, people make mistakes. So
right.
he said it was in a dark time. I don't know how when you're a billionaire, when you up, you know, I don't know what dark times I don't know what dark times rich niggas got, but shit,
got plenty.
give me
Trust
those,
me. It's different.
give me those dark times. You feel me? I'll show
Gotta
you some
save
real. I give you
face.
some. If you want dark time, I can give you some dark times.
You
I
gotta
get
What
save face.
I heard this a rich person say this. They said, what is it that the problem that rich people have? He said is to find a reliable and quality company that can repair my watch or watches. He said that those kind of problems, a good problem to have, man. You can't find, you know. But the other side of that, man, a lot of them in a dark place, man. A lot of them deal with depression, some of them bipolar, some of them just unchecked. And they get power and money behind them, man. They turn into raw animals. So whatever is in you, man, it's gonna come out of you, man, when you get some bread in your pocket, you know. So I'm not, but like I said, there again, this is not to indict him or to judge him. I'm just saying, man, it's like, you know, if we ain't cleaning that up, man, you got a couple of coins in your pocket, man. You get 100 M's in there. Hey, man,
yeah, yeah. You're
you on top of the world. You know,
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I'm just, bro. I'm just like I kind of this during this verdict, I kind of got hope of people again
yeah.
because they took their biases aside of how they felt about him during the Cassie video and actually looked at the case and was like, I don't just like us, I don't see a crime here. I don't see
They started singing R. Kelly. I don't
yeah.
see nothing
Mm.
wrong.
now,
Well, yeah,
now Kels, he had video evidence of a crime and he got acquitted from that. But I mean he's in jail for something else. But the we all know the video, the original video, the 13-year-old girl video. That's a crime. Uh, prostitution, yes, it's a crime, but it's not a all right. Lock them up for 20 years crime. It's not
Oh,
raid the damn let's go ahead and let's raid all his houses. Like
Mhm.
they put a big deal. I thought I was about to be seeing some shit, bro.
Right.
It was a big deal. I thought I was gonna be seeing some stuff, man. I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was gonna be able to. I was gonna see some stuff, but I ain't seen nothing, man.
but
I
do
ain't
you
seen
think?
nothing. He freaky. That's it. That's all I see.
But do y'all think him going up against that liquor company was the trickle effect, the downward spiral to all of this right here?
Yeah.
Do you think this
Yeah,
kicked
you
I'm
it
know.
off?
sure it had something to do with it as well.
He contributed to it.
Well, if
Mhm.
you, well, for y'all that's if y'all don't know, you lived under a rock. Right before he got had this issue, he was suing the liquor company that owned Ciroc and DeLeon because DeLeon was something that he owned and they wasn't giving him the right they wasn't putting the right ingredients in there and they wasn't promoting it like they was promoting all the other ones. And so he sued them because he was thinking of discrimination.
Yeah.
Now, my theory, that was, my theory, and there's a lot of people theory is that that's why the government came for him, because uh a lot of laws get made. It don't The laws don't get made because people go out here and protest, or people go out here and vote. Look, we vote for representatives. We don't vote for laws. We vote for a group of people that's supposed to vote on our best interest. But those people don't vote on our best interest. They vote on the interest of the lobbyists.
Themselves. Mhm. Yeah,
So I
that
always
condition,
said, if you want to change,
that
get a
parties.
lobbyist group.
Yeah.
It's all If you want to change, you got to spend some money. If you want things to move your way, you got to spend some money. Ain't nothing free in this country. Not even the laws, bro. Ain't nothing free. We just got an illusion of free. We got an illusion of of choice. When we vote, we don't even vote for when we vote for the president, we don't even vote for the president. Like, we vote to tell our delegates to vote for the president. So that's what electoral votes are. Is because it's the people that's designated to vote for on behalf of you, the people. So we don't have an individual voice. The bigger voice is the damn them lobbyist groups. So my theory. I'm not saying it's real, but I'm pretty sure the government was like, this dude's making too much noise. It's time. They've already had something on him, and this is the only thing they had on him. Was he been doing? They knew he been doing freak offs for years. They knew it. They knew it, and they been
Yeah,
knew it.
of course.
And so they was like, you know what? This dude think he powerful because he a billionaire. Now we gonna show him. We gonna show him what's what, right? So then, so then, so they just they out here they just went and took him. They got him. But the problem is he's a very rich man. So he got the goats. Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele said, we not having that. He came with a straight legal team, bro.
Mhm.
Legal team. They was taking out them witnesses is like it was nothing. They were breaking them down. Because you can't lie. You can't lie on the stand. That'll be perjury. So they have to say, they gotta keep it real.
Have y'all been on the been a part of a jury duty before?
Nah, I haven't. I never got picked.
No, not yet.
It's
Nah.
it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. You know what I mean? The jury selection, the question that they ask, all them that bias talk, you know what I mean? Depending on the criminal side or the legal side, you know what I mean? Do you have a bias against police, lawyers, judges? Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff, man. You know. And you know what I mean? That won't necessarily mean that they would not pick you, but hey man, some people, hey man, they take it personal. And a lot of people walked away and didn't get selected because of their bias. But yeah, man, it's something serious. As soon as I moved out here to the county that I'm in, man, I got picked. I was like, ain't this something?
Yeah,
So yeah,
because you don't know what's going on, you know, and that's what it's supposed to be.
yeah, yeah.
It's like it's supposed to be biased, but when you're a rich, famous person, that's really hard to find a
Yeah.
jury of your peers that doesn't have an opinion of you when you're a public figure. When you're a public figure, we act like we know you personally. I don't know this. I don't know him from a can of paint.
That's the thing, man. You made a good point right there because it's like we really take on these mindsets as if we know these people person to the point. It's like we only get the information that's via social media or the news, the media. You see what I'm saying? And the more it circulates, the more it conditions the mind to say, persuade us to that side because you know as well as I do, y'all, that people who get charged for a crime are already guilty before they even been convicted like you
Right.
said earlier, Trey. by the jury of public opinion. That goes for you,
Yeah.
me, anybody else. You see what I'm saying? And because social media mixed with media, man, it's a deadly cocktail, man.
And
It's a
you
deadly.
could tell the biases of the people, even when you like, when you like search through YouTube, you'll see how they title each thing. They'll say, instead of uh Diddy being found not guilty with RICO charges, they'll say Diddy's guilty of. Then you go in there and be like, he's guilty of soliciting prostitution, which I'm pretty sure that 80% of Americans, saying is guilty of that. So I ain't gonna say Americans, but like 80% of the
Yeah,
male
man.
adult population has one time in their lives indulged in prostitution. The oldest profession in history. And so you get them for that. They just throwing everything. They was just like, let's they might as well put them on trial for jaywalking. We know you be jaywalking. Like what he's been locked up hell without bond. They treating him like he committed murder or something.
Right.
They treating him like El Chapo. He finna go to Supermax and
And
then
going right
deny his
back.
bond.
Not only that, man. This is what was crazy. They wasn't going to send him back to the jail that he was at, and he was like, "Yes, I don't want to go back." And the judge sent him right back to the to the jail that he didn't want to be in. I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, this is
Well,
wild.
the judge said, he don't, from him shaking his head no or whatever, looked like he don't want to go back. So then he asked the lawyers, to write their letters,
Yeah,
and he'll could reconvene in a couple hours. So I think, like I said, it was more so with the media reaction to it, and they wanted to ease that. That's why they didn't let him out.
it's definitely a method to the madness. I get it. I get it.
Man, this is
It's just
some
crazy. It's a fiasco, man.
it's crazy. It is to and then it's leaving us the people as like when I look at it and I'll be like, this ain't right, and I'm saying this ain't right. They like, oh, what you a Diddy supporter? What did you like that Diddy be? Like, no, just because I don't agree with the actions that he did on his relationship with his woman
Well,
doesn't
what
mean
if you were a
that
Diddy supporter? So what?
but what I'm saying is why you can't just be on the arm of right versus wrong. I go for whatever's right and whatever is wrong. But he it's not like he lived a perfect life. I'm pretty sure he effed over a lot of people
Right.
in his career as a hip hop mogul. I'm pretty because we hear it all the time. Everybody already know. They say they used to talk about it. Me growing up as a kid, like Diddy didn't pay nobody, and
Yeah. But
did
there's a
bad
lot
deals.
of hypocrites in this stuff, man. That's what I like hate about
That's
this media stuff. It's a lot of hypocrites. A lot of people that did so much wrong stuff, but they get on here and then they want to just appease the people and say things just for likes and other whatever gains they got behind it. But everybody make mistakes. Everybody go through things. Nobody's perfect, so he paid for what he did wrong. So move on. You know what I'm saying? All you can do is move on. All you can do is move on. You
Exactly.
moved on from the last thing you done wrong, so why can't he?
absolutely.
And for a person to sit up here and say they never done something wrong, you a bold faced lie.
But the
Absolutely.
problem is it's about how
But should you
we
go to
view
jail for life for
celebrities,
that?
bro.
It don't
Like
matter. It's
how we
still
treat
you.
celebrities is like they supposed to be perfect because they're celebrities. They're supposed to that I think the thing is, we are in a culture now where we are idolizing celebrities and public figures. We're idolizing that, and we have to get out of that because the only person we need to be idolizing is God. Only thing that we idolize is, yeah, I don't know if which where everybody's religion is, but I'm a Baptist, so my idol is Jesus, not Diddy, not the diddler. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not going to because there's no walking man or woman on the is perfect, have made the perfect decisions. We all got our vices. And if you're walking around acting like you're holier than thou, you will get exposed because nobody is perfect. And so, but the issue is that they take a dark moment in his life, highlight it, and say, "This is the person that we're going to. We're gonna. Don't worry. We're gonna lock him up, and he will never see the light of day again." So he'll never. He's never gonna beat on women again because we're gonna lock him up for life. And it's like, look, bro, that's domestic violence. Domestic violence is not even a felony. It's like domestic violence is a misdemeanor. Like, so, and then they can't even get him on domestic violence because of the statute of limitations. She's never filed a complaint, so they can't even get him on that. That's why they just released it to the people so we can just have an opinion. So when they actually get him on his charges, not a person alive not gonna know he beat up Cassie. So there's no way they're gonna find a jury that's not gonna know that. But it's just like that's how they got Tory. That's how the same thing is. That's how Tory, because Tory already was eviscerated on a court of public opinion. So when he went into actual court, they didn't really argue that. They didn't really care about the facts because they didn't see the facts that uh their star witness, who was Meg the Stallion, is a habitual
He's a
liar.
liar.
So what does lying mean? That means that's a character flaw. That's part of that weighs reasonable doubt. In order to be guilty, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. But when you have somebody that has a character flaw, that they're not honest and that they're known to lie multiple times, like she went on, this, like, what, I believe her this one time. It's like, dude, she's already displayed the character flaw of lying habitually.
But that just go to show you, man. They can say anything they want to say.
They
They
can
can
do what
say
they
anything
want.
they want to say, and
Oh, that's real.
Man,
And and we got to get smarter too, man. I mean, we really have to not buy into a lot of the narrative that's sold to us, as the public, and because at the end of the day, man, when we put, I don't care if it's Diddy, I don't care if it's Eddie Murphy, when we put these people under scrutiny, under the spotlight, and look at these people's lives as if they done arrived somewhere. It's like, man, this been so idolization, man, has been sold to us our whole lives, starting with our parents. To look at our
Mm-hmm.
parents as just being this perfect being that's not flawed. You see what I'm saying? And which turns the kids one way or another. If the kid end up in the a single parent mother home or vice versa, you're left with the temptation of feeding this child images and narratives about the other parent that's simply not true. And that child grows up with this mentality, believing that the other parent that was a part of this consummation is no good. And we it's been sold to us our whole life. So now the media is where it is now, man. It's just out of control. It's like we just go with whatever that hits the news feed. And it's like, bruh. Come on. We got to start. We got to get back to. We got to make critical thinking sexy again.
Yeah,
You know.
make
You know.
critical
So
thinking sexy. The thing about it is, we are in an era where you can't even trust the media. Where freedom of the press. They used to have uh integrity. They used to have that. They used to have that they had to. Because sometimes when the news get it wrong, they'll actually put a redaction. I don't even know if I'm saying
yeah,
that word right.
retract the story. Retract the
Retraction,
story.
retraction.
Yeah.
That's what it is. A retraction. They'll put a retraction in saying, we got this right. We got this wrong. We apologize. It won't happen again. Nowadays, it's such a sensationalized. We're doing so much for clicks, likes, and views that they're just
Yeah.
sensationalizing everything. And now you don't even know what's real to why the people is going to independent media, which is people like us that is just that's getting the information and trying to figure it out live in front of it in front of the world so the world can understand, like, look, this is what the facts are, this is what the truth is, and this is what the lie is. Because if not, they could just drive the narrative to whatever it is that they want to drive it to. And so, because the media, how mainstream media was framing it, it was framing it like he was just cooked. He was going to be cooked, bro.
About to bury this man up under
He
the
was
bill
he
and
finna be
set him on
gone.
fire. And set him on fire.
And so the people that watch the mainstream media, when they see this verdict that they saying he's not guilty of racketeering, running a criminal enterprise, uh, they're like, what? What's going on? What's going on? I can't believe that. Well, if you actually follow independent media who actually sat there and read the transcripts and was getting real information, you would have seen that there's no crime here.
And know the definition of the charges.
Dude. And RICO charges, bro. I ain't even trying to get no RICO, bro. Like they put anything into a RICO. They don't even have to prove that you did anything. They just have to prove that something wrong was here, and that you
Well,
that
part of
somebody a part of your organization is tied to you. Like okay, I tie it to Thug Rico. Thug ain't doing nothing, but somebody that knows him, who is a criminal doing criminal activities, saying they are a part of YSL. They were saying like, "Hey, I'm a YSL, like I'm YSL," and so they're like, "Well, he's doing it on behalf of YSL." Which YS is saying YSL was a criminal enterprise, which is not. It's a record label. It's not a gang. It was a record label. But that's how they. But they're like, look, they don't have to prove that. They just have to prove that, hey, you know the person who's committing the crime. And if you know the person who's committing the crime, and that person is saying that you the homeboy, and then they gonna be like, well, shit, you're the leader then. Rico, send y'all all to jail. But this is Diddy. This is the first Rico I've ever seen. What is just one person? I thought it was supposed to be a whole enterprise, a criminal enterprise. It
Rico of
wasn't. This
one.
is Rico of one, bro. Rico of one.
I tell you, man, this is beyond me, man. I just we we live in a time, boy. I say, man, it's damn near comical, but it's sad, you know, to say the least, man, because it's like, man, we just go with whatever. We just go with whatever, and
Man.
just throw everybody up under the bridge, throw them off the bridge, bury them, you know, set them on fire. You know they did that in what's that, Salem, Massachusetts, back in the early 1900s, man. They was accusing people of being a witch, and they set these people on fire. We talking about in this country, man. In this country. So I mean, what makes you think him, you, me, or anybody else is different, man? You know, and as man, I'll tell you. Once the jury of public opinion get a hold to it, man, it's like it's almost no point of you got to go and hide. You got to reclude, if you will, which is unfortunate. You know.
Unfortunate situation, man. But we're gonna wrap it up, man. We're gonna wrap it up today. Um, I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. Uh, we back. This is the format. We're back for the live streams. New episodes of the Pure Game podcast will be releasing soon. Uh, with the where we take hot takes, speaking with the ladies, giving you game on relationships. But uh, we're back with us chopping it up, keeping you guys in tune because this stuff is getting ridiculous at this point. This is just not this is getting really bad, and I can't sit by no more. I'm back. I'm back. We back in the game, man. So we back live. If you haven't already, subscribe, get engaged, share, comment, clip, share. Uh, but on that note, y'all have tuned into the Pure Game live stream, and we're out.
Peace,
Peace.
yo.